In the headlines, a Colorado-based company enlists regional support in its attempt to export bulk water from Dominica. Amendments to the Marriage Act leads to a spike in civil weddings and a call for teachers to be fully vetted before they can enter the classroom. I am Kenny Williams with the Channel 5 News. Details coming up. First up, a Colorado-based company with a license to export bulk fresh water of the island is making an attempt to further its plans with the help of Caribbean governments. Idona John Baptist has that story.
It's been 7 years since government granted Cicero Water Inc. a 10-year license to collect 3 billion gallons of fresh water annually from Marigot's Clyde River. However, the Dominican registered company with Dominican and American shareholders has been unable to make any profit from the shipment of water out of the country. While Cicero Water Inc. has put in place the resources to make this happen, one of its directors, former Cabinet Minister Atherton Mate, says the challenge of bulk water export is greater than could be imagined.
Those plans are in full swing because we have found markets in the region for water. These markets have been developed and secured with both private and sector interests overseas and with governments. We have put in place all the logistical systems required to get the bulk water from Dominica to those markets, which include question of tugboats and barges and large water bags. All of these have been procured and are awaiting our use. There is just one hurdle that faces us and has faced Dowasco before we came on the scene, which is that while there's a lot of people who want water in bulk, none of them have the capacity to receive the water.
The company already has an arrangement with Dowasco to make it possible to obtain water from pipelines along the west coast. Cicero Water can also provide container loads of bottled water, some 1 million 1-liter bottles every month. Dominica has a market for bulk water in almost every island north of it, and with the impact of climate change causing increased drought, this is a need now more than ever.
That in the same way they had to make special provisions for receiving and storing fuel, gasoline, aviation fuel, diesel, kerosene. They had to make the same arrangements for water because water is a liquid. So, for instance, if we brought a barge with 1 million gallons of Dominica water to Antigua, there would be no place to offload it. When the tankers come down by Canefield to offload gasoline, or down by Jimit, Petrocarib tankers to offload diesel, you see what they do. They park up and then they run a line, and that line goes straight into huge storage tanks. That's what you have to do for water. So for the last 2 years or so, 3 years now, we've been attempting to convince the governments and countries of the region who need water, you really need to build those facilities.
Before feasibility, marketing, and environmental impact assessment studies had to be done. Mate says he believes there is room for up to 5 companies to get into the bulk water export business.
This could be Dominica's biggest business. This could be much bigger than bananas, much bigger than DCP, 10 times over. But it requires very careful analysis and study and preparation. It took us 7 years to do that work.
Other top stories. Marriages outside of the church have been picking up since the amendments of the island's Marriage Act. Here's that report.
There's no doubt that the wedding sector has evolved. With the changes taking place worldwide, Dominica has had to catch up to position itself as an ideal Caribbean destination wedding location. The destination wedding market is $1 billion industry annually. Well, at least that's in the United States and United Kingdom. Following the passing of a major amendment to the country's Marriage Act in 2013, it became legal for marriage officers to perform such ceremonies outside of the church, a move which brought the country up to speed on the destination wedding industry. That was after a first major amendment in 1996.
Since 1996, following that legislative amendment, hundreds of weddings have been done. I think it is accurate to say if you compare the number of weddings done in churches since 1996, following the legislative amendment, to now, compared to weddings done outside of the church, the weddings done outside of the church by far exceeds weddings done within the church, by far. I personally did about some 60-odd weddings last year.
For a civil marriage, someone would have to apply to the civil registry for certificates on the couple's behalf. The couples then have to fill a petition and pay the marriage license fee of $300 to the Treasury. These documents and receipts are submitted to the Ministry of Community Development for processing of the marriage license and thereafter scheduling of a wedding date by the registry.
If you would like, our country would like to make its destination attractive to people who would like to get married away from their destination or their jurisdiction or where they are from, then you have to make the law user-friendly. A number of jurisdictions in the Caribbean have done just that. Make it easier legislatively for persons to come to your jurisdiction to say I do. It's not the length of the ceremony that matters. It's not the 2-3 hours. It is what the law requires you to be done at the marriage ceremony. And that is the affirming of the vows and the signing of the register.
Civil or court marriages are also less time-consuming and cheaper when compared to those done in the church. The Roman Catholic Church, for example, asks couples for 3 months' notice prior to doing its investigations.
The church, as you know, does not recognize a civil marriage. So if you have two Catholics who get a civil marriage, that marriage has to be convalidated. And by that we mean that sometime soon after the civil marriage, they should have a church ceremony, which would involve preparation, the regular preparation that is required, which is like 3 months preparation, discussions with somebody who's preparing them. And what we always recommend is the engage and counter weekend as part of the preparation. If you have a case, for example, of one of the parties having been married before, in a civil marriage, let us say, he or she would have to produce the document that talks about the divorce, what we call the absolute decree, the decree absolute, which says that this marriage was done civilly, which the church doesn't recognize, and they got a civil divorce, and this person who is Catholic then would be free to marry.
In the marketing budget of the Discover Dominica Authority, it has been pushing the island as an ideal location for destination weddings.
With new legislation making it easier and removing some of the barriers, now we can go out and do some more marketing. We've done that primarily through trade shows and trying to get to the wedding consultants, the people who actually facilitate and assist couples in putting a destination wedding together. And what we're finding out is what Dominica has to offer, which is different than the sun, sand, and sea. More specifically, the ecotourism aspect of it, the nature aspect of it, is actually trending and is increasing in terms of demand.
There was some 200 civil marriages conducted in 2015. Idona John Baptist, Channel 5 News.
Moving on now to CARICOM heads of government who have agreed to consider a comprehensive review of the single market and economy at an intersessional meeting in February. At the just concluded CARICOM heads meeting in Guyana, the heads also agreed to have an intensified public education campaign in member states aimed at all levels of society. That education program will highlight the benefits and provisions of the CSME. The heads received an update on the work of the CARICOM Commission on the Economy, which focused on fiscal sustainability, private sector stimulation, business regulatory environment, transitioning to sustainable growth, and resource mobilization. The heads of government also approved continuing initiatives in these areas. Heads of government also received a report on the economic performance of member states in 2015, which showed mixed results. They noted the technical support given by the Caribbean Development Bank, Caribbean Export, Inter-American Development Bank, and the United Nations Economic Commissions for Latin America to the work of the Commission. The heads of government reaffirmed their commitment to the implementation of all elements of the CSME regime. A change in date has been announced for one of the signature events of the annual Emancipation Celebration.
The Nature Island Literary Festival, which aims to stimulate and develop the literary skills of the Dominican public, has moved from August to September.
The festival is currently undergoing a remake. We are restructuring and we are redirecting the festival. We've been finding that not enough of the young people have been able to attend the festival since we've been doing it during the summer holidays. And even the teachers themselves are on holiday and tend to leave the island. And we've been very disappointed in past years at the very low turnout of young people and school-age people. This festival is really about the future and the future of writing in Dominica and the Caribbean.
Bully notes, however, that a segment of the festival will be held this month.
We will still do a small part of the festival in July. That is on July 30th. We'll do the children's workshop. But the main part of the festival, the main events of the festival will be held sometime in September. So this will be just when the students are coming back into school, even before they get into the meat of the school term. I will be able to cater for them, have them attend the various readings by school by school, bus them in from rural areas if necessary, and also ensure that they are able to interact with the international writers that we normally bring.
The highlight of Emancipation celebrations is the Golden Drum Award ceremony scheduled for 30th of July. Emancipation celebrations will kick off with an art exhibition on Wednesday, 13th July.
The art exhibition takes place at the Old Mill Cultural Center at Cadenfield from July 13th to August 12th. The exhibition is organized by Alliance Française de la Dominique and features the work of various Guadeloupean artists. The UWI Open Campus is host to a film and rap session on Thursday, July 28th, 7 p.m. This event is organized by UWI Open Campus and the Cultural Division. On Friday, July 29th, the main event is an emancipation walk and concert in Grand Bay. The walk proceeds from the top of Tete Lale to Hewlett Jones Center for a libation ceremony in memory of all those suffered the oppression of slavery.
Emancipation celebrations are carded to run from 13th to 30th of July. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Coming up, is it time to get rid of the death penalty? Hear what some local professionals have to say on the matter. Thank you for staying with us. A suggestion that it may be time to begin the discussion on whether or not the death penalty should be retained or abolished from the law books. That's one of the suggestions which emerged from a lecture by Justice of Appeal Davidson Baptist. Here's more. The Justice of Appeal himself would not comment on whether or not the death penalty should be abolished, but he did say that in any event, as the law is right now, the conditions are so stringent that in actual fact, it's almost as if the death penalty has already been abolished. Some believe that because of the conditions which must be met in order for the death penalty to go through, chances are it will be rare if it is ever carried out at all.
It is instructive that one of our partners, that is Venezuela, and because many people don't know of that it was one of the first countries in this part of the world that abolished the death penalty in 1863. So I wonder if it's not opportune and it's not a right time for us to begin the debate about whether we should in fact abolish the death penalty on our books or retain it, because clearly, as you have said, that cases of that nature, result in the part where the death penalty is clearly in permanent paralysis and comatose.
I can hardly imagine the circumstances in which these criteria can be met. We have grown up in a society over the years which has accepted the death penalty as part of our legal and justice system. But I think we must now come to the acceptance that it has been, for all practical purposes, been removed from our legal system.
I believe that, emerging societies like us in the Caribbean, CARICOM, OECS Economic Union, CSME, and so on, which I believe have tremendous potential down the road. We cannot be wedded to British jurisprudence. I mean, although it is British have helped us a lot. For example, the principle of free and fair elections, and so on, the Constitution, the Westminster system, all that. These are good things. But to get ourselves tied to their purse strings jurisprudence, no death penalty, in cases where persons have been proven guilty, you're not just guessing now, you prove the case. I think that is craziness.
The Privy Council has ruled that appeals which go on for years are not compatible with capital punishment. The death penalty has to be carried out within 5 years of the sentencing.
The imposition of a mandatory death sentence is contrary to the Constitution, to Section 5 of Dominica's Constitution. The death sentence is thus a matter of discretion. The conditions for the imposition of the death penalty are extremely stringent. The two cardinal principles govern its imposition, and both of these criteria must be satisfied. The first is that the killing must fall into the category of the worst or the rarest of the rare. We have seen the conceptual difficulties attendant upon such a categorization. The second basic principle is that there must be no reasonable prospect of reform of the offender, and that the object of punishment cannot be achieved by any means other than the death penalty.
If the murder does not satisfy the first principle, that is the rarest of the rare, the death penalty cannot be imposed. The role played by psychiatrists and psychologists in providing the social inquiry report is also critical. Officials with the Caribbean Examination Council, CXC, are entering into discussions with regional internet service providers in order to make their vision of the electronic writing of CXC exams a reality.
This as the Council addresses concerns raised by the 19 Caribbean states which conduct CXC exams. In preparation for the advent of online exam writing, e-testing has been carried out in the numerous territories. CXC Registrar says two major concerns have been raised and the Examinations Council is working to address these.
Immediately people tell us about bandwidth, and that is one. There are some schools that have they have the same dial-up systems. They haven't gone to ADSL or one of those systems yet. But we are having some discussions with one of the major providers of internet service in the Caribbean, and we'll be speaking to them about what they can do for schools and what they can do particularly in countries, and what additionally they can do around examinations time to improve the bandwidth of those schools without any additional charge to the schools, if any charge at all.
The other area of concern deals with the number of machines available on which to write the exams.
The other one is about the amount of computers they have available. And the question is that we have all of these people writing English and mathematics. And how are we going to be able to provide for all of them at the same time? Now, across the region, there are about 100,000 people who write English and maths every year. Okay? So it means that we would be saying 100,000 computers got to be across the region. After English and math, the next highest number may be about 30,000 or so. So we would not want people to prepare for 100,000 when that is only going to happen for 1 day or 2 days. So we will be looking at rescheduling or scheduling the English and maths over a period of time So we have parallel papers that people can do.
The registrar says one of the benefits of CXC moving to an online platform is the speed with which security breaches can be addressed.
And for that purpose, we have cyber insurance and all other different kind of things. But we also have persons who are constantly trying to hack into our systems to let us know where the weaknesses are, and we can correct them as we go along. So we are trying our best not to make them available. The difference, however, is if there's a breach with the paper base, it takes us a while to get another paper back to our clients. If there's a breach online, we can get a paper back within a couple of minutes online. So we can respond much faster if there are breaches.
Cumberbatch assures that if a country is not ready for writing CXC exams electronically, the paper method will be used until such time that that country can accommodate this new method of writing exams. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Authorities have been cautioned to properly vet teachers before integrating them into the education profession. These words from President of the Dominica Association of Teachers, Celia Nicholas.
We need the training, we need the support, and we need the right individuals in the teaching profession. We can have all the academic accolades, and if the right attitudes are not there, they bring us down. So the way we are recruiting our teachers, again, I ask the Ministry of Education and the Chief Establishment Department to review the way we do our recruiting.
Nicholas warned that if teachers are ill-equipped for the classroom, this will be reflected in students' performance.
And this is what we are saying as a professional body, and we are also telling the Minister of Education, as a politician, not as a Minister for Education, but as a politician, that we stop putting individuals in the classroom who are not ready to be in the classroom. It is negating what we are trying to do. So it's not who we like, who we don't like, who will vote for us, who will not vote for us. It is who has the passion for the profession. Once you have the passion for the profession, come what may, you will do what you have to do to get these children to learn.
The DAT president also highlighted that certification and training for incoming teachers is becoming increasingly important, as this is the direction the world is moving in.
As the DAT has been saying time and time again, individuals who have not been formally trained, I'm not negating the fact that they have brought something into the profession. But there is no profession on the face of the earth which allows individuals to come in to practice the profession without the proper license. In some of the Caribbean territories, it is becoming mandatory. From the CARICOM desk, education CARICOM desk, this is what is being pushed.
Teachers from around the island are currently engaged in a 2-week seminar workshop with the Canadian Teachers Federation. Project coordinator of the Marigot Development Corporation, Michael Pascal, says they are extremely happy with the performance of the project this year, with all students receiving substantial financial awards. The organization has secured $2.3 million in scholarships for students to attend private boarding schools in the U.S. The program targets 17-year-old students who are eligible for entrance at U.S. private boarding schools. Students are facilitated in preparing for entrance exams and obtaining scholarships. The scholarship awards ranged from 85% to 100% of the total cost of tuition and board at these private boarding schools. The students are Gracie and Jules and Jervon St. Clair of St. Mary's Academy, Jayana Seaman and Tiara Georges of Convent High School, Adea Balthazar of the Dominica State College, and Samantha Roberts of Christ the King High School in Antigua. They will join 5 students currently in the U.S. on the program. The new students will attend Wilbraham and Manson Academy, Emma Willard School, Wayland Academy, Dana Hall School, Salem Academy, and St. Andrew's Siwansi School. Preparation of the next group of students for the study abroad program begins in August. That's news. Coming up, your sports highlights. Cricket takes the first knock. West Indies fast bowler Jerome Taylor has officially retired from Test cricket. Taylor, who took 130 wickets in 46 tests over 13 years, will continue to be available for a selection in the ODI and T20 formats. According to a WICB release, Taylor, 32, played his last test in Sydney at the start of the year and was left out of the squad to play India after giving formal notification of a decision to retire. After taking 2 wickets in 3 tests against Australia on West Indies' 2015-2016 tour, he decided to focus on limited overs cricket. Moving on to track and field, sports officer responsible for track and field Godwin Dorset is confident the athletes will put up a good fight at the Windward Island Secondary Schools tournament soon. He comments ahead of the Windward Island Secondary Schools trials to be held on Wednesday.
The track and field is really looking good for us this year. The number of the athletes has been involved in the Dominica Amateur Athletics Association track and field events all through the year, and they have been training with their clubs. And I know they are going to come out strong, and we are hoping to give Grenada, who is the defending champion for the competition, general competition as well as athletics, a very, very big fight. We are hoping this year that we can overthrow them in that top position and take that top position. So far from here on.
Meantime, Dorset says athletes stand a better chance at booking a spot in the team if they take part in multiple sports.
We are expecting all athletes to participate as this event is a multi-sport event, and athletes vying for position on the team must bear in mind that the ability in more than one sport gives them a better chance of selection. So they should make themselves available for competition on Wednesday.
The Windward Island Secondary Schools tryout is scheduled for Windsor Park at 12 p.m. Meantime, let's hope the weather holds up as the 2016 DABA League continues this week. On Tuesday, the Beast of the Sea and Water will meet up in Trafalgar when Tigers and United Insurance Sharks go head-to-head at 7. Then at 9, it will be a clash between Fast Cash Prowlers and the Detroit Blazers. In football, President of the Dominica Football Association, Glenn Etienne, believes the future of football development lies with the youth and the grassroots football. He made those comments at the opening of the 5-day FIFA Women's Football Coaching course.
Since we believe that football must start from the grassroots level, the DFA will stage a 3-month grassroots program where we will target children between the age of 6 to 12. Special interest will be paid to young girls so as to provide an opportunity for them to learn the sport. Some of you present here will be called upon to pass on your newly acquired skills. Therefore, it is imperative that you take in as much information as possible so that you can pass on the knowledge whenever the opportunity arises.
Still in sports, rain forced the washout of the 12th match in the Caribbean Premier League after the Jamaica Tallawahs had a strong start on Monday. Reaching 3 runs short of a half-century, Chris Gayle scored 47 not out for Jamaica to help his team reach 116 for 2 in a match reduced to 12 overs aside because of rain. The showers came by the 10th over of Jamaica's innings, not allowing any more play. Meantime, the games continue on Wednesday between Barbados Tridents and Patriots. Starting time is 8 p.m. Back with more cricket, Derry O'Geese picked up 4 for 33 for Dominica, but that wasn't enough as his team went down to Queen's Park Cricket Club by 1 wicket in the Sir Garfield Sobers Cricket Tournament on Monday. Dominica batted first and scored 164 for 8 in 40 overs. Dion Williams had 31, Derry O'Geese 20, Jovan Raphael 27, and Brian Joseph 21. Set 165 for the win, Queen's Park replied with 166 for 9 in 38.3 overs. Kerwin Dupini took 2 for 17 and Malachi Xavier 2 for 34. And finally, Malta India Icons defeated Digicel Newtown Juvenile Football Academy 4-3 in the Fast Cash Harlem Football League recently. Victor Deluge, O. Warner, A. Deluge, and Bert Kazimi got 1 each for Icons, while Cameron Paul, Eustace Marshall, and L. Edwards each netted once for Digicel. In another game, Del Najis Quirkside and Aeropost Dutch United played to a 1-all draw. Joachim Dominique scored for Crookside and Donna Gervigé won for Dutch United. Meantime, the Haarlem Football Club hosted an in-house competition, a match with parents versus coaches, and a prize ceremony recently. The activities concluded with several individuals being awarded for outstanding performances in the area of football. Still in recent football activity, we can tell you that Sand Pirates defeated Spartans 5-0 in the TTV Beach football tournament. The party team beat newcomers Signman 1-0 and Ghetto Youths won over Lacroix by default. That's all the sports for now. Join us again next time. We now join Jana McPherson for your weather report.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am Janelle McPherson. A high-pressure system today resulted in partly cloudy skies across the region. Radar imagery indicated a few scattered showers across the island chain. The weather for tonight, fair to partly cloudy skies with some brief showers. Tomorrow, similar conditions are expected with temperatures peaking up to 32 degrees Celsius. Seas tomorrow, moderate in open water, waves peaking up to 7 feet. Looking ahead for the next 2 days, a high-pressure system will result in fair to partly cloudy skies. By Thursday into Friday, a tropical wave is expected to result in possible thunderstorm activity. Throughout the Caribbean tomorrow, fair to partly cloudy skies with scattered showers. On the international cities forecast, possible thunderstorm activity in Miami and Caracas, generally fair weather conditions in New York, rain expected in London, cloudy skies in Beijing. Sunrise tomorrow, 5:42 a.m. and sunset at 6:40 p.m. For up-to-date weather information, please visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for viewing and have a good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. A Colorado-based company enlists regional support in its attempt to export bulk water from Dominica. Amendments to the Marriage Act leads to a spike in civil weddings and a call for teachers to be fully vetted before they can enter the classroom. Feel free to contact us at news@mapping2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Kenny Williams. To our viewers around the world, thank you for watching. Join us next time.